I already recorded this video once, and I feel like my initial thoughts on it, now that I've progressed just a little bit further than that first time I recorded, doesn't do it justice. Because this game truly is something special, okay? Now, I'm not insanely far into the game or anything like that. I've only fought, at this point, the second major boss in the game, and I'm still, you know, working my way back through doing all the spicy raids and doing all the spicy versions of the levels and things like that. But here's my thing, right? On the initial come up of Splatoon Raiders, I wasn't all that hyped, right? And I feel bad saying that because, you know, it is one of my most anticipated games this year. I've been looking forward to this game since they initially announced it, and once they revealed that this was a dedicated single-player experience, I was more than for that, right? Because Splatoon, at its core, at its heart, has always been Nintendo's major multiplayer, COD equivalent, you know, multiplayer game. Right? So I've always considered Splatoon to be, you know, more along those lines, that big multiplayer game that you would play with friends or whatever, right? And, you know, it's gotten very, like, it's been subtle, but it's gotten more and more high quality as a series over the years, and all you have to do is pay attention to all the subtleties, and you can really see that in the quality of the character designs and the animation and the events and the little tidbits and, you know, things that they add here and there through updates and things like that. Like, they've really done what they can to take care of this franchise, and it's truly astounding to see, right? Splatoon is easily one of my favorites. It's so much fun. It always has been. I rarely have had any major problems with any Splatoon title, and that still very much stands, right? So, when it came to Splatoon Raiders, I was excited to see that it was a thing, and, you know, on the come up of it, I guess I've just been a little bit on the distracted side. You know, there's been so many games coming out within these recent months. You know, I've been playing the hell out of Dench Attack, you know, recently, and stuff like that. Hell, even after Splatoon Raiders came out, all I could think about was Dench Attack, and hell, just recently, the Marvel Tokon beta was just taken over, and I just couldn't think about anything else. But now that both of those things are done and finished for me, all my focus is on Splatoon Raiders, and man, they killed it. They learned so much from previous titles, and it absolutely shows, right? Somebody put it perfectly. They said, if you enjoy COD Zombies to any extent, do yourself a favor if you have a Switch 2 and pick up Splatoon Raiders. And that is by and far probably still not even doing it justice, in all honesty, because Zombies is a little bit more mindless. You know, it's very simple. You know, it's very, like, I mean, not that Splatoon Raiders isn't simple in design or anything like that. It is, you know, pretty simple, but the layers to it, the layers of, you know, depth to the mechanics and to your setups and to all the different weapon types and things like that, to the building of your character, to, you know, your base and everything like that. There is so much mechanical depth to it that it becomes more and more interesting, and you start to invest more and more time and energy into it that you don't realize how much time has gone by and how much fun you've been having the entire time, as opposed to COD, where it's just kind of rinse and repeat. You start with a set weapon and you just hope you get lucky with the RNG, as opposed to Splatoon Raiders, where you are constantly just going out and doing your absolute best, and even if you know, lose or whatever, you get your ass whooped, you are still gaining, you are still progressing in some way. And that is what matters to me. That is what's so important, is that you are progressing no matter what. Just by playing the game, you are getting better, you are getting stronger, you are getting levels, you are getting items and drops, and it is phenomenal, right? So, you know, this entire situation of Deep Cut and the pilot, or the mechanic, after you get to a point in the game, as they call you, are stuck on the Spiralite Islands. And throughout your time on the Spiralite Islands, you are fighting these, like, you know, all the salmonids are here, but, you know, there's something off about them. There's something different about them than what you are used to fighting throughout the original, you know, Splatoon campaigns, right? These are very different in, you know, concept and design from what they know of the salmonids. And you're coming to learn about all these ancient, like, relics and temples and things like that, that contain a lot of secrets about the Spiralite Islands and about about, some family lineage stuff. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I think it is for the best that you guys play the game for yourselves, Not that the story is like the heaviest thing ever, but, they do their best to incorporate some fun and interesting lore to the characters, to the world of Splatoon, and they make it fun and interesting to indulge in, right? And so, because of that, you are incentivized to go out and do as much exploring of the Spiralite Islands as humanly possible, getting a hand on all these relics, all these weapons, all these Spiralites, and things like that, and utilizing all of that to upgrade your weapons. And you end up in this glorious and beautiful loop where you go out and you do a raid. Also, sorry, by the way, if you can hear some snorting in the background, I have the dog back with me again. She is adorable and not sleeping, just breathing hard. Oh, Bean. I know you can hear me. Anyway, but regardless, you're stuck in this loop where you go out, you raid, you get as much Spiralite, as many new weapons, and as much new equipment as you possibly can to take back to your base so that you can tinker with your specials and your equipment and things like that, little patches to add on to your weapons and stuff like that to power them up, make them stronger, so that when you go back out for the stronger raids, you are much more better equipped. Much more? Anyway. You are better equipped to take on more powerful foes, and it's so addictive that you want to keep getting stronger. You want to keep gaining levels. You want to keep bringing back, different items and things like that to bring to the table to upgrade the base or to upgrade different weapons and things like that, right? And it's just so easy to get into. And what's even worse is that this is probably one of the best multiplayer single-player games I've ever played, right? Because it's absolutely hilarious that they have advertised this game as a single-player experience, and it absolutely is, right? But I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I'm sure I'll talk about this again at some point, but it's very interesting to me that after playing hours of multiplayer with friends on the hardest difficulty, going back to single player, going back to all of the single player content by yourself, almost makes it a joke, right? Because that's the thing, Splatoon has always done this balancing act, especially when it came to Salmon Raid, where you would essentially have more players with you, and the more players that you had with you, the stronger the enemies would be, right? If you did it by yourself, you would notice the difference in your, the damage that you're doing to the Salmonids and stuff like that, how many enemies would show up and vice versa, whatever. So that definitely applies here, where they had to play a little bit of a balancing act in which, they're accounting for all of the players that are going to be on the field, which means they could go ham in, adding more enemies onto the field and having them take a little bit more damage just in case, 2 or more people are shooting at the same enemy at once, especially when it came to bosses, right? So in this case, it is terrifying, and it's scary to see how strong these enemies are on the hardest difficulty with 3 or 4 people. Mind you, I was playing with just 2 other people, right? And at the time, even today, I was playing with them, and they are miles above me in level. They are double my level. They're in the 40s, right? And that just goes to show I'm still relatively early into the game, right? So, to see that these 2 level 40s and this one level 20-something was struggling on one of my earlier levels is kind of a testament to how they, had to work around balancing. And maybe you could consider it a little unbalanced. And, I don't think that would be unfair to say. You know what I'm saying? Because, going back to the single player experience, it was just such a breeze because I was so overpowered because it was, now it was accounting for just one person in the earlier acts of the game. So now I'm breezing through all of these levels with pretty much little to no issue, right? Even now I'm level 30 in like level 20 territory. So it's just going to be a little breezy for me to get back through. And yet I still find myself having a lot of fun doing these, levels over and over again, whether it be the regular version of it or the spicier ones once you unlock it, doing the harder versions of all of these levels to see, what kind of challenge they could throw in there. What else can they kick in for you, And, mind you, I haven't even technically done a spicy raid with the hardest difficulty with multiple people. So if I'm assuming that's a thing, right? Or maybe it's just random, who knows? But regardless, This game is truly an experience, an anomaly that I did not foresee myself delving into as hard as I'm literally going to and have been so far. And I'm really, really happy with that, right? I think, I don't know if I talked about this in the original version of this video, but the thing about Splatoon Raiders is that I know a lot of people probably had mixed feelings about it going in, especially, you know, the fact that it's not Splatoon 4, right? I know a lot of people were definitely a little bit weary about that. I'm sure, you know, Splatoon fans didn't have any qualms about that. They saw this, they were like, oh yeah, that's a day one, whatever, and that's no problem. But I know a lot of other people were thinking like, oh, maybe I'll get into Splatoon later, like it's a little late now, so maybe on that fourth one when we have it on the Switch 2 and it's high quality, yada, 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 and they saw Splatoon Raiders and they're like, oh, this is a spin-off. What is this, you know? And they didn't know what to do with that, right? I'm telling you now, they can call it whatever they want. They could say it's a spin-off title. This is as mainline as it gets, as far as quality, as far as content, as far as just things to do, and just general, like, everything about it is just so mainline that it doesn't matter that there's no, like, heavy multiplayer, you know, 4v4 aspects to it, right? And, you know, who's to say that we still can't get that Splatoon 4 and get all of those elements with mechanics and inspirations from Splatoon Raiders implemented into that, right? You're breathing a little heavy down there, kid. You alright? Yeah, you're alright. You'll be okay. But it's exciting to see, right? And the thing about the Nintendo Switch 2 era right now, the biggest problem that a lot of people seem to have, or consistently anyway, is that they're still kind of waiting on that next major title. They're waiting on that next Mario, that next 3D Mario, that next Smash Bros, you know, the next Zelda, right? And we are getting Ocarina of Time in just a few months, and now that both Star Fox and Splatoon Raiders is out, they can put 100% full focus on marketing for Ocarina of Time, unless they delay it, which isn't impossible. But I mean, the way that they were pushing it, and it has been a good couple of years now since Tears of the Kingdom, so I'm sure that team helped out another team, and maybe it was Monolith, who knows, you know? Again, we don't even have a semblance of an idea of what we're going to or what to expect with this Ocarina of Time remake. But now that those games are out, you know, they can focus on that. But here's the thing. If you have a Switch 2, and you're kind of like, you got that in anticipation for one of the, you know, the big AAA major title, big Nintendo titles, do yourself a favor. Pick up this game. Do yourself that favor and have a good time with Splatoon Raiders, because I promise you one thing, you are going to have a blast with this. This game is so much fun. It is genuinely incredible that they pulled this game off, and I really do think that you would be doing yourself a solid by picking up this game and giving your Switch 2 a reason to be played if you're not utilizing it already. Frankly, there's a lot of phenomenal games on Switch 2 already that I know a lot of people are passing up because it's not the thing that they were looking for, and I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that you could make investing in the Switch 2, because the Switch 2, it's got some great games. Bonanza, Air Riders, I'm sure there's other AAA ones that I'm not thinking of right now that are first party, but Air Riders, Splatoon Raiders, Star Fox, I keep wanting to say Firefox for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, but you know, it's not just Mario Kart World, and I promise you that. And I'm telling you right now, if you give yourself a chance, play a little bit of Splatoon Raiders, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And even better, if you have any friends that might have been trying to get you into the game too, because they are playing it, do yourself that favor, join them. But even if you don't have people to play this one with, that's okay too. This is perfectly fine as a single player experience. That is what it is meant to be first and foremost. So, I repeat myself one more time. Do yourself this favor and get yourself Splatoon Raiders, because this is one of those games that is just absolutely must play, an absolute mandatory, okay? And I fully expect most people that are coming out of playing this game to have a satisfactory time. And, you know, I think the reviews show for good reason. Those are some good-ass scores for some good-ass reasons. So, hey, I don't think I could say it enough. I truly don't. So, hey, I'm going to stop talking about it. So, with that being said, I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Have you picked up Splatoon Raiders? Have you been playing it? Have you been having a good time? Have you been having a bad time? Is this a game that you also were not expecting to be as good as it was, and you've just been playing it thoroughly? You've been having a phenomenal time, either by yourself or with other people? Or are you on the opposing side? This game just does not interest you in the slightest. This game is absolutely not for you. Or maybe you did pick it up and this game just does not interest you in the slightest. You don't care for its loop, you don't care for its mechanics, and this is just not a game that has you sold like that. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!